The Mirror Incident in Versailles. The Palace of Versailles has seen centuries of grandeur, secrets, and ghosts. But few tales are whispered as cautiously by the custodians as the one known simply as the Mirror Incident. A story absent from official records, yet lingering in candlelit corridors and dust-covered journals of the 19th century. It began in the autumn of 1887, when Etienne Renaud, a young historian and archivist from Paris, arrived at the palace to catalog a collection of artifacts that had recently been uncovered in a forgotten wing sealed since the reign of Louis XV. Among gilded furniture, moth-eaten tapestries, and shattered porcelain, a singular object stood untouched by time, a massive floor mirror encased in a frame of blackened silver, nearly 10 feet tall and utterly out of place. Unlike the mirrors in the Hall of Mirrors or the bedchambers, this one reflected dimly, as if forever cloaked in dusk. Its surface shimmered not with the room behind it, but with a dense, smoky depth, like water veiling something sunken. Etienne was immediately drawn to it. Strange how such a mirror was never documented. He remarked to the palace curator, Madame Blanchett. "It shouldn't be here," she said curtly, her eyes fixed on the ground. "It was never part of the inventory. Perhaps you should leave it be." But Etienne was not the sort to obey vague warnings. That night, after the staff had gone and the palace lay wrapped in darkness, he returned to the wing with only a lantern and a notebook. He stood before the mirror, unable to look away. Something about its frame, entwined serpents biting their own tails, silver cherubs with empty eyes, both repelled and mesmerized him. He raised the lantern. The mirror did not reflect the room. Instead, it showed Versailles, but not as it was. The reflection. He saw the palace corridors lit by torches, not electric bulbs. Shadows danced along the marble floors, and footsteps echoed. Heels, boots, whispers in French that did not match the dialect of his time. Men in powdered wigs and women in gowns passed behind the glass, unaware of Etienne's presence. Then came a flash, sudden, blinding, and the mirror's surface rippled like disturbed water. He stumbled back. When he looked again, the mirror showed only his reflection. Pale, wide-eyed, and uncertain, he documented everything in his notebook. The vision, the sounds, the impossibility of what he had seen. Each night, he returned, and each night, the mirror revealed more. Sometimes he saw the Sun King himself, Louis XIV, striding through the Hall of Mirrors. Other times, he saw things no history book recorded. Secret meetings in the Queen's chambers, blood spilled in the gardens under moonlight, masked figures whispering beneath the gilded ceilings. The mirror became a portal, but only for the eyes. He could not touch what was shown, nor could he interact. Until one night, the other side, on the 7th night, Etienne returned to find the mirror already active. The palace in the reflection was in ruins, walls blackened by fire, the air thick with ash. A figure stood amidst the destruction, a woman in a crimson dress, her face veiled, her hands gloved in shadow. She turned to him. She saw him. "You see us now," she said in Old French. "And we see you." Etienne dropped his lantern. The flames sputtered. Darkness closed in. When the light returned, the mirror showed only his reflection once again. But behind him, in that reflection, stood the woman in red. He spun around. Nothing. But the mirror continued to show her standing just behind him, closer each time he blinked. He fled the wing. The journal of Etienne Renaud. What followed were weeks of decline. Etienne, once composed and sharp, grew pale and jittery. He began muttering in older forms of French, writing in backward script, sketching spirals and sigils in the margins of palace maps. His notebook, recovered later by Madame Blanchett, contains entries that grow more frantic. She walks the mirrors, not trapped, only waiting. Versailles is her cage, but every reflection is a key. They called her La Miroiriste. She was not of this world. I saw the king bargain with her. Blood for beauty, youth for loyalty. She was sealed in silver, not to contain her, but to bind us. No one knows when Etienne vanished. One morning, his bed was untouched, his clothes folded, his lantern found before the mirror, extinguished. The mirror itself was discovered shattered, its silvered surface cracked like ice under a frozen lake. Yet the frame remained untouched. Epilogue. In 1901, two English women, Charlotte and Moberly and Eleanor Jourdain, claimed to have experienced a time slip while walking through the gardens of Versailles, seeing figures from the 18th century. Though dismissed by many, those who know the true history believe they passed too near to where the mirror had once stood. In 1932, during renovations, a sealed vault was found behind a false wall near the Queen's apartment. Within, bones arranged in a circle, a crimson silk glove, and a silver-framed hand mirror, identical in design to the one Etienne had discovered, but far smaller. Today, the larger mirror is said to reside in an undisclosed location, removed from the palace but never destroyed. Its whereabouts are classified under French cultural archives, marked non-accessible, objet declassify. And yet, visitors still speak of odd reflections in Versailles, mirrors that shimmer oddly, show empty corridors when rooms are full, or briefly reflect faces that shouldn't be there. The custodians, older ones who've been there for decades, sometimes whisper, "When you walk the hall of mirrors, never look too long. Some reflections are not your own."